pay attention to what's happening at AT&T as it takes charge of Warner Media. The TV and movie business is formerly known as Time Warner. In addition to changing names and leaders, with telco vet John Stankey replacing Jeff Bewkes was now a senior advisor, you'll see a different leadership mode that's about to become the industry norm. The sun is setting on superstar CEOs including Disney's Bob Iger, CBS Leslie Moonves, and Fox's Rupert Murdoch. RDOCH thought to be indispensable due to their abilities to identify popular infotainment. They'll be replaced by less flashy executives who've mastered comparatively mundane but important management skills, building efficient teams and workflows, and meeting budgets, attract creative people, or craft strategically savvy deals. Consider it a victory for process over personality as the media business becomes more competitive and stock prices decline. Investors and the public are discovering that some CEOs aren't nearly the sine qua non they think they are, says former AT&T broadband CEO Keith Leo Hindry, who wrote It Takes a CEO, It's Time to Lead with Integrity. Related, Bob Iger recounts his path to Disney. Brian Roberts and Bob Iger are go head-to-head in the battle for Fox. That's a big change. Most media companies have spent years making the case that they owed much of their success to their CEO's Midas touch. For example, Disney's board gives Iger credit for having driven spectacular financial performance. When Sumner Redstone controlled CBS, he frequently called CEO Moonves a super genius. Fox directors gush in the company proxy over Murdoch's invaluable insight and expertise. Those beliefs paid off for these and other media CEOs. Most became entrenched, holding their jobs far longer than their peers in other industries. The average head of a large-cap company only lasts 5 years, Aquila reports. But Bewkes ran Time Warner for more than 9 years while Iger had Disney for 13. Moonves has been in charge for 15 years, and Murdoch has run Fox since he bought the studio 33 years ago. And, of course, media chiefs make much more than their corporate peers, including those who employ more people, oversee bigger enterprises, and make decisions that have or profound impact on social welfare. Moonves and Bewkes ranked among the nation's 10 highest paid CEOs in 2017. Iger made the top 20. Murdoch wasn't far behind. The AT&T deal helps to put the pay disparity into perspective. Although considered a big player in media, Time Warner would have only accounted for about 15% of AT&T revenues if the companies were combined last year. That was so small that the telco did need a shareholder vote to approve the deal. Yet Bewkes' nearly $49 million compensation package was 70% higher than the one for AT&T CEO Randall Stephenson and 385% more than Street Anki made. That should change soon. AT&T's proxy says that when the Time Warner deal closes, the board intends to reevaluate Mr. Stankey's compensation as appropriate to recognize new duties. Yet the cult of personality has lost its allure. It's hard to make the case that a single person deserves credit for the performance of companies that juggle multiple businesses across multiple continents. The days of an individual driving the success of an entire business have diminished because these companies are so large, says longtime media analyst Christopher Dixon. As a result, the skills to run them well will be traditional management skills, and you'll need a team. The Me Too movement demonstrated how risky it can be to give a single person outsized credit for a company's success. Disney recognized that when animation chief John Lasseter, long seen as the mastermind behind the revival of the company's foundational business, faced disclosures of sexual transgressions, and Wall Street has lost confidence in media CEOs' magic. The company said last week that he will leave at the end of this year. It was easy to give leaders credit while their companies reported extraordinary profits from pay TV, a business dominated by a handful of network owners and distributors. But executives who look like wizards now look more like the Wizard of Oz as they scramble to figure out their futures in an internet-driven infotainment industry that may soon be controlled by much larger telecom and tech companies. When vertical integration was largely killed off, most of the media industry's monopoly power died as well. Hindry's the industry simply doesn't do as well in a competitive environment, and this reality is now reflected in many of the public stock valuations. Murdoch's decision to sell most of his Fox Entertainment assets suggests he recognizes that it's time for a change. No one's more deeply entrenched and Comcast's Brian Roberts, who controls a third of the company's votes, but others appear reluctant to leave the spotlight. The bylaws allow for him to be chairman, CEO, and president if he's willing and available to serve. Iger probably could stay at Disney for life if he wants. In December he agreed to stay to the end of 2021, he says, to see through his company's agreement to buy the Fox properties that might require him to lead a bid-in. Now that Comcast has made a higher offer, it was the second extension to follow his plan to leave in mid-2016. This time I mean it, he said. In October, although he and Disney's board have yet to identify a potential successor. Meanwhile, Moonves has launched a do-or-die power struggle with CBS controlling shareholder Shari Redstone. They've asked a Delaware court to determine whether the CBS board can issue a dividend that would dilute Redstone's voting power to 17% from 80%. Despite their differences, Moonves and Redstone seem to agree that the next leader should have traditional managerial skills. When they discussed a possible combination of CBS and Viacom, now off the table, Moonves lobbied for his COO, Joseph Ianiello, a finance and deal guy, to be as no. Redstone preferred Viacom CEO Bob Bakish, who held corporate sales and development jobs as he rose through the ranks. To an heir apparent, will the shift in focus from personalities to process affect storytellers? AT&T on Friday told Time Warner staffers not to RRY. As different as our businesses are, I think you'll find we have a lot in common, CEO Randall Stevenson said in a first-day memo. We're big fans of your talent and creativity, and you have my word that you will continue to have the creative freedom and resources to keep doing what you do best. Still, professional managers typically hate risk, but Dixon notes that we've been here before. In the early days of television, and underlings eager to succeed will surely sense that and adapt. The movie business declined, yet managers including MCA's Lou Wasserman found ways to generate new business in the new medium. So while Hollywood studios now crank out about 18 films a year, that's what Netflix is doing in 2 months, he says. If professional managers can revive the business, then the departure of superstar CEOs is not all bad. This job no longer requires Cecil B. DeMille. David Lieberman is an associate professor in the New School's graduate media management program.